Hey you guys, it's Amy Lay, the Invincibility Coach. Getting the planet in a better mood. That's the deal. So today is the final installment of this round of lessons from the Peloton. So Tour de France did finish up, and so such as it is, yeah. And so the lesson that I want to pull from the Peloton for this final installment is, I'm calling it the benefits of tunnel vision. That's right. Usually, whenever we hear people talk about tunnel vision, it's not good. I mean, there doesn't really seem to be a benefit, right? Well, as usual, I like to take certain concepts and kind of flip them on their head. And as relates to cycling, and it does relate to some other sports too, but again, we're only focusing on cycling right now because we're pulling lessons from that. Is this: when a cyclist is really, really at high, perhaps highest effort on the bike, something happens, and this is universally described by cyclists when they get to a point where it's like, man, they probably can't push themselves anymore. Something that happens is what they describe as tunnel vision. So they're concentrating so much on what they're doing, and the focus is so high that, and physiologically, what happens is that the scope of your field of vision starts to narrow, kind of big time. Now, it's interesting that this happens in cycling because, especially in big races like the Tour de France, which is the biggest, ordinarily there are scads of people lining the streets where these cyclists are having to like pierce through crowds in some cases. This year it's been a little different here and there. Sometimes you get big crowds, sometimes not with the pandemic. But in some cyclists' descriptions, they actually don't see the crowd. Now some of them do. Like again, there's so many variables here. Just you got to go with me. But I'm talking about that. What happens though is that they do get to a point where literally they can only see what is like in a pinpoint right in front of them. And some of this is because the amount of hours that they've actually just been pedaling, which can be 4, 5, 6 hours, right? And so this is intense stuff. So here's what I want to pull from that, because again, what we're doing here, we're taking lessons from the Peloton and sort of superimposing them over the normal people out there that don't do this all the time, and trying to see what kind of a lesson that we can get out of it. And so tunnel vision, right? So I think that the benefits of tunnel vision are this: if you can allow yourself to be so focused on something that you really do block out all of the other distractions for a period of time. I think that's the power of this. If you were a person that operated day to day all the time in tunnel vision, I don't think you're going to enjoy your life, and no one is going to enjoy hanging out with you, right? Tunnel vision has to be reserved for high intensity, goal oriented execution of your mission. Okay, so you have to decide. I don't know you, so I don't know what your like number one like big time goal is going to be. But if it's a huge life goal, then you need to break it up in little goals along the way. Okay, and we can talk about that. That's what I do. That's what I do for a living. But the thing is that for those little snippets of goals that comprise your greater goal, you should be allowed to have tunnel vision. Seriously, you do not need to be responsible for so many other people in your life. Wonder what so-and-so is going to think if I do this? What if I did this? How would that affect this group of people or this group of people? I understand if you have a family, right? But tunnel vision can still be activated if you have a family, because you sit your family down and you're like, hey, you guys, I need to do XYZ. I really want to do this. I really want to focus on it. So can you help me like release me from this, that, or the other so that I can concentrate on this thing for a certain period of time, because I'm going to go crazy, crazy focused on it. And I need to be able to eliminate all the distractions around me. Okay, so let's say, and I think the most extreme example here would be families, because that is responsibility and there are obligations and commitments and all that. I talk about this stuff too with clients. But what I want to get at is that if you sit everybody down first and you're like, this is what's coming, I'm about to enter into some tunnel vision. Okay, so let's skip ahead. Thanks, family, for letting me jump into this tunnel vision moment, which may last a week. It might last a month, right? And I want you to know that if you need to have a tunnel vision moment, partner, kid, whatever your family situation is like, household, let's plan some tunnel vision time. Like, hey man, I'm in tunnel vision right now. But you get to have tunnel vision too, and you get to have tunnel vision too. So let's work that out. Because I think that if we were to live our lives never going into tunnel vision and just riding along, and not really allowing ourselves to intensely focus in on a set of goals over time, man, we're just not really going to get anywhere. And if you're a person that doesn't really feel like they need to get anywhere, awesome. Good for you. This video is not for you then, clearly. Have fun. I mean, seriously, have fun. But for those of you that really want to accomplish things and you're having trouble with it, I want you to know that tunnel vision is okay. And it happens. Like when you start getting in that hyper focus, and if you've arranged your life, which again, these cyclists, like that's their job. Their job is to ride their bike and hopefully win, right? And then they have sponsors and the sponsors get attention. There's this whole, like network of things that happen with these races, which if you watch them, you understand, right? But again, we're pulling that lesson of tunnel vision away. And rather than going along with the convention, which has been age old for people to be like, well, don't get tunnel vision. It's like, then you're not going to be able to see what's going on around you. It's like, well, you know what? I think it's okay. I really do think it's okay. If you plan your tunnel vision, you're like, I'm about to go in. You have the people in your life that are important to you that know I'm about to have some tunnel vision. So, if there's a huge emergency, maybe give me a tap, right? Otherwise, I'm going in and I'm going to emerge on the other side and I'm going to win. And my goal is going to be crushed. And then I'm going to move on to the next goal when it's time, after I've rested and recovered. You see the angle with all this, you guys. Okay, so that's it. I love you guys to pieces. We'll see you next week when we start a whole new round of stuff. It's not going to be lessons from the Peloton anymore because the race is over. 3 weeks a year, I go crazy on this race. But then after that, life goes on, right? Okay. I love you guys to pieces. Peace out.